am Shokin with the topic of
That's me again.
System Functional Theory of Banks TRIZ approach.
No, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has a lapel.
Hello, my friends. That's me again. So, I promise you, you will not miss me. So, my next presentation is about the implementation of TRIZ tools in other spheres, on the example of the psyche. And the name of the presentation is Homo Incipit, System Functional Theory of Psyche. So, let's start. First of all, we have to understand what is the thing we are dealing with. Every one of us have inner space, the psyche. And we got used to live with it. But if we take a close look at this, at our mental processes, we'll find that every day we live in a constant fight with our desires. Our desires versus our strategic goals. It would be easy. It is easy to understand, but that because every one of us wanted sweets, or maybe has dependencies or something like that, and that's why we have a very complicated inner space. So that's why we can ask the questions, the following questions: what controls me? What is important for me? What should I do with all of that? And the main thing, the main question: am I reasonable at all? Because if people would be reasonable, there wouldn't be dependencies. Everyone with dependency would just can say stop to taking alcohol or drugs, but it doesn't happen. Why? Let's the answers to these questions are provided by many people and many religions and streams and esoteric and so far and so on. But as we can see, because no one of us knows the answer, they actually don't know the answer. So maybe psychology could help us, but it doesn't even science, because the psychologists, they don't have opinion about what they study. And of course, as you've been waiting for, TRIZ could help us with its approaches. First is the system approach. As you remember, system approach works with objects like systems, a set of elements and connections between them, emerging new feature. And the second approach will be used in this investigation is a functional approach based on the concept of function, the model of changes of an object under impact of another change, of another object, or the model of purpose. So let's see. Let's ask ourselves, what is the function of psyche? And everyone knows that it could be a contemplation, a reflection, studying, and everything like that is in our inner space. But all these functions are directed to the psyche itself. They directed to the other elements that are inside the psyche. And this is a methodical nonsense, because the object of function always outside of the functional system. That is why we have to find some object outside psyche that it has deal with. And this object is definitely body. So, body, psyche interacts with body, and body changes the environment, has deal with environment. So that's it. And the body in this functional system, human, the body would be working organ, and the psyche would be the management organ. And as you can see that as you can test yourself, every interaction of psyche with the world comes from your body, because we cannot use telepathy or telekinesis. We use for interaction with this world only our body. So there is no divine future of psyche. It is just a management organ, but it is a very complicated organ, and as we discussed before, this organ has fights in it. Why did it happen? That is because during evolution, our species was developing, and the evolution has a principle of Schmalz-Gaussian that declared that the newest evolutionary feature does not negate the previous, but builds upon them. So that is why the conscience, the newest evolutionary feature, is built upon the, let's say it, unconscious. Everything that directly interacts with the body. And you can test it out yourself right now, because you can ask yourself, you can try to change your heartbeat, for example, or you can try to feel your particular nerve, or you can try to move your particular muscle. You cannot do it consciously. You can only give the command to unconscious, and unconscious manages the body. So that is very complicated construction, isn't it? And we have to ask ourselves a question: why? What is it for? This system works pretty well, but somehow one of the species had to develop another management organ with very, very complicated interaction with the basic management organ. A lot of questions, isn't it? So, to answer these questions, we have to understand where evolution goes to. And I reviewed it in my previous article and the presentation I made on the previous TRIZfest. And these are links to the article and to the video of the presentation. But here, shortly, we'll assume that the evolution of matter began with the transformation of non-living matter. And these transformations are random, absolutely random. They have no direction. With appearing of living organisms, the principle of purpose appeared as well, and the functional systems of the first time was born. So the transformations became less random. And then, after that, with evolution, man created tools, and man created social systems. And that was the next step, and that is the functional system of the second type. That is the principle of purpose became very, very fast growing. So according to this, we can count the reasonableness, and its value is the opposite of the randomness. So the less randomness in our activity, the more reasonable it is, isn't it? So it is quite obvious, isn't it? So, and it is based on the global law of the development of the nature of the matter of the universe, where functional system information structures matter. So, coming back to people, if we have a formula, we can use it and we can count every person's reasonability. And of course, there will be a Gaussian distribution, of course. On one end, will be persons that act just emotionally. Let's call it emotionally, not making any goals, just randomly. On the other end, will be persons with strict strategic mind, counting every step. And it sounds fair, yes? And everyone else would be like somewhere in the middle. But it doesn't true. Because if we take a closer look at this end of the scale, we can understand that every action of that man, strictly strategic, in the end lead to the same old ancient principle: avoid suffer and get pleasure. And this is the same principle these people are going to. So, but you see that man is much bigger. That's because, and his stick is much bigger. That's because his impact on the Earth resources is much bigger than his. For example, he uses a private jet or yacht and everything, and spends a lot of resources. So, having this formula, we can make another conclusions. We can try to understand where whole humanity is located on the scale of reasonability. Somewhere here would be animals. And having in mind the previous slide, I think humanity is not far away from animals. And that will lead us to exhaust of the Earth's resources, and it will, therefore, for the war for those resources. And that is very, very clear, very possible scenario. So, here are the links to the articles, to the article and to the books of Alexander Vasilievich Kislov, the head of TRIZ, whose sphere of interest are social systems. That's here you can there you can read more about that and more of this. I will the next presentation I will make about this. Okay, so parts. Psyche. Psyche is a functional system. Inside of it, there are different parts. They are functional systems too, because every item in the universe we can treat like a functional system. And everything what we do is we structure the matter. What is the purpose of this investigation? If we treat psyche like a functional system, we can treat every subsystem down there as functional system, and investigate interactions between them, like it was a tool and a product and an action. And that's how we can we can focus on the very small interactions And that is how we can build a new fundament, new, how it says, build a new thing that stands on for psychology. So let's make conclusions. Nowadays there are many thoughts, there are many answers on many opinions on what is the human psyche. But using the system functional approach, we can understand that it is not a divine thing. It is just a management system. I'm sorry. Using the concept of the structure and matter, we can understand that the reasonableness can be seen like a formula, and with that formula we can understand where we have to go, what our actions has to be reasonable. And after that, we can understand where humanity has to go and what is the reasonable goal of humanity. And we can move it far away from animals, I hope, if we'll understand this together. That's, thank you for your attention. That's my contacts, and that is the links to the article. In the article, there is far more information and far more conclusions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any question from the floor? Okay. It's really something new for me.
Huh?
Something new for me that we look at the TRIZ in another approach.
Yeah.
So, I just want to clarify on how I'm understanding this, because as humans normally we may quite often react emotionally.
Again, please.
Right? Sometimes human will act more on emotional.
Yes. Yes.
So how we can actually to convert it from one end to another end?
We can understand what is the purpose of our life, and that will be in the next presentation.
Okay, wait for that.
Wait for it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. Anyway, being reasonable is doesn't need to be doesn't negate the emotional thinking, emotional living, because we are human. We have emotions, and that's fine. But in our activity, we have to choose right thing to be inspired, to understand that we're doing the right thing for us and for society and for future, for kids, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So next we will move to the second presenter with the title of Super System Capability of TRIZ and the Purpose of Mankind by Mr. TRIZ.